Right, so your current situation, I only got the King of Cups reversed. And it's not a whole lot of information, especially since it's a court card. So I thought first, dealing with Scorpio, especially whenever you're coming towards you, we got death. So most likely a Scorpio involved, but it could be any water sign, or this could just be talking about you and repressed emotions. But usually when I see a water sign, I think water sign. Like if it was going to be something else, I don't know, the Hermit reversed, that wouldn't tell me repressed emotions, even though it would tell me Virgo. So I feel like could be why this is here if it's not a water sign. But this is somebody who's repressing their emotions. I do see it too emotional as well. There's lots of cups in reverse, so it tells me too emotional. With death in here, it talks about possessive, and that's very Scorpionic. That's my word I use. So if you are dealing with a Scorpio, or you have Scorpio in your chart, or you're just very, very sexual like a Scorpio, this could tell me you're being, very possessive and erotic, but you've been repressing these emotions or the sexuality that you have. And it feels like it's an injustice to you because you have to kind of lie or be dishonest because you know this would bring about a scandal. And there could be more added to this, so I clarified. But you notice his cup is in reverse, and then this cup is in reverse as well. So clarifying it, we had the Five of Swords, which says win or lose, and then we have Three of Pentacles, which is reach out. Now, when you have Three of Pentacles and death, it talks about a total transformation. So that kind of brings up the idea of Ace of Cups in reverse being a revolution. Something's changing within you, within your relationship, if you have one. But you could be going on a sexual revolution about something you've been repressing, or even emotions you've been repressing. Whether or not you're in a relationship, doesn't matter. And I feel like you're going to reach out to somebody, or you're going to go for something, maybe even something like menage a trois, because we're talking about risky things here. Win or lose, you're going to do it anyway. I just get worried that the Five of Swords is in here because I think this is a love reading, and you don't really want Five of Swords in a love reading. It's almost like people are working together and then something happens. Like somebody's trying to one-up somebody, or somebody's trying to take, the lead when it's supposed to be teamwork. Okay. So I'm just a little nervous that that's in here. Especially when King of Cups is reversed, because sometimes King of Cups reversed is somebody who's very promiscuous and they lie. So it could be somebody who likes to cheat. Especially if we have three people here, and then we have, a devious partner with the Five of Swords here. Okay. It also talks about too much of something as well, this Five of Swords. And with justice, that would talk about a crime. And this King of Cups person isn't very nice. I don't like him in reverse. It doesn't usually talk about crime. It does talk about dishonesty and scandal and injustice. So in that way, possibly going rogue is also something with the King of Cups. So this could be you. It could be somebody else you know. And this Three of Pentacles could just be a third party. But it talks about crime and talks about working together. So could be a crime of the heart, where somebody's betrayed with a third party. Or people are working together like in cahoots to commit a crime. And it may not even be a crime, actually. It could be something that's just taboo. Again, because we have this revolution going on. Okay, so what's coming towards you? We have the Three of Wands reversed and death. So this is our first major arcana in the spread. And then you get one more major arcana with Chariot in your outcome. That's only after I clarified. This came out in your actual spread. And then you have Justice at the bottom of the clarification. That's only after the clarification deck. So again, it could be Scorpio because we do have two Scorpio cards in here. Seven of Cups is Scorpio too, just so you know. It could be any water sign or it could be anybody. Pardon me. I'm just thinking. Because Chariot's here, it talks about somebody not choosing the other person or the other woman in your potential outcome. So if there's, a third party, they're not going to choose that extra person. If you're that third party, they're not going to choose you. And then we have not waiting for somebody. So it could be advice for you not to wait for somebody. You're not going to wait, or they're not going to wait. Because it all depends on who you are in the spread. And I do feel like there's no new beginning in love, but there is just sexual passion. I think there's an affair going on because we do have the Ace of Wands. We have the Six of Pentacles. We have somebody who's promiscuous and they're repressing something. So somebody hasn't been happy in that relationship. They may be getting fulfillment elsewhere. And this could be you too. But we can get more into that later. If you're single, it's saying soon you're going to find somebody. You may find somebody through work. There's a possible workplace bully with the Three of Pentacles and Five of Swords. And it could be a water sign for some people. But I am going to be pulling a sexual deck for this. And there are some sexual cards in here. I guess there's a little bit of work in here, but this could just be somebody who's, not very nice, and so they come across as a coworker bully. You could work with this person, but they could just be a bully in general. And Death says you're going to have a transformation. You're going to see this person's true ways, especially if they're King of Cups reversed. I'm seeing that you're going to have faith in the face of anything negative, because there is something coming. There's a cycle going on. And when you have Death in sevens, which we have at least 2 sevens here, there is a cycle going on. There needs to be a weighing of the pros and cons, but somebody may be too emotional to do it or not emotionally balanced. They've been repressing it. And Justice here, plus King of Cups, says there does need to be some kind of a decision made. But Death also talks about corruption, possibly obsession and sexual passion. It's like being devoured by your own sexual passion almost, I think. So that could be the sign of the affair, or just, again, somebody having some kind of sexual revolution or rebirth. And then with Ace of Wands in here, your advice in Death, I'm seeing like you kind of get no support for this passion you have. Which could be that one taken out of the Four of Wands. Because, you have 3, but if you take one out, or if you put one in, that's 4 of Wands. If you take one out, then you have 3 of Wands. So not only do you have 3 of Wands, but it's also in reverse. So there is some instability here. But that's something that is on shaky ground, especially if there's a marriage or just a relationship that's been exclusive. And then with Ace of Cups reversed, it's like motivation has been repressed, emotions, sex. And 2 of Cups here, if there's an affair, it could be the end of a relationship, possibly even the end of a friendship. Something is expired, and there is a need to release something. Okay, but with the 3 of Wands, there is this idea of 1, overwhelming demands, 2, being rude with the 5 of Swords here. It's a need to release and restart past some kind of rude behavior. With 2 of Cups as well in here, and your advice, it talks about a relationship therapist, talking about third party. So if somebody has something that you think is like an aberrant sexual fantasy, that may be something you want to go seek counseling with them with to kind of see what you can work on. And then with Ace of Cups reversed, or Ace of Cups in general, talks about learning another culture. But with both of these in reverse, to me, it feels like you just can't get with the program, or somebody can't get with the program when it comes to you regarding this area. And so somebody's just really conceited, really arrogant, really rude. That's what's coming towards you. Most likely a Scorpio, just because of the cards that are here. It doesn't have to be. Now, some of you really are going to see a relationship therapist because we have Six of Pentacles, and that's a therapist. And when you have Justice and Six of Pentacles, everything works out in your favor. And usually this guy buffers any kind of injustice, especially that King of Cups would cause because he's injustice in reverse. But Justice is upright. So I think everything is going in your favor, but especially because now you have the Six of Pentacles, which is even more of a buffer. So I feel like you're almost going to be immune to this, whatever it is. Yeah. So I'm also seeing somebody's having to divide their attention between two people. You may get some advice. Yeah, you can probably get some advice. And you're still standing up for yourself if there's some kind of, tension between you and someone else. Especially if there's a coworker bully. I just feel like there's a bully. It doesn't have to be a coworker, though. Okay. But it can. There could be some work in here because we do have enough pentacles. I feel like there's more that I'm not really seeing here. Now, with the Three of Wands and Death, I feel like there's some kind of a bonding going on, like indulging somebody in whatever it is they want. You're trying to have equal give and take. So you're trying to, if you're in a relationship or if you're just dating somebody, you're really trying to, show reciprocity, especially when it comes to sexuality or sexual things. But, with Death here, it talks about transformative lovers. So you may have recently met somebody. Maybe you don't really like them in person or at work, but outside of work, you guys have some kind of a, tumultuous affair, whatever. I'm just giving you an example. But you guys are coming together. You are going to agree with somebody on something. You are going to have some kind of a contract or a deal. You're going to have balance and respect, especially right next to the Six of Pentacles too. You're going to be united with somebody. You're going to connect with somebody. It's going to be a very good connection. If you've been repressing emotions, that's possible. But again, this Two of Cups with the different areas is showing me there's some kind of end to a relationship or end to a friendship. Now, it doesn't have to be bad, especially if there's a third party. If you guys somehow got into a menage a trois and it involved a friend, I'm seeing that friendship's probably over. Because, yeah. But it could be the end of friendship that turns into something more. So that's a possibility here. Also, I'm seeing truce with enemy. So again, this person is probably a coworker bully. You probably have a truce, and then all of a sudden, bam! Like you guys are like in the closet humping or something. I don't know. But there's lots of harmony, and that's in your advice as well as just showing me what's happening here. And it's going to turn into more. It's not just sexual, but there's so much sexual energy in here. Let's talk about it. Now, this person is very sexual. They repress a lot of things, or you've been repressing. Could be both. And they could sometimes get easily bored. And so they do things for excitement. And so that's something to watch. It may cause a lot of emotions to stir up. But I feel like you're going to stick it out. But you may just feel like maybe one, you can't support certain inclinations, certain proclivities. But it looks like you're going to come together on some things. And this is a very phallic card. So I feel like, yes, have that passionate start. So thumbs up from the universe. We got, close to a penis as we can with the universal rider weight. Don't worry, we'll get the full details in this deck. If should one of those cards come up. But you actually get to kind of see this person be vulnerable and what it is that they prefer. But yeah, definitely a big transformation or transition coming up. And you're trying to have equal give and take. But it's really just going to be between two people. If you try 3 people, it's not going to work. So just don't even bother with it, honestly. All right, so in your advice, sorry, I need a drink. We have the Ace of Wands. So again, just a reminder, it's a thumbs up. This says be true to what it is you believe. So if you really don't want to do something, don't do it. Now, if this is not a committed relationship, okay, especially if it's with somebody you work with, ladies. For females, when you have this with the Two of Cups, which we do, it's clarifying it. It says for a woman, this relationship is dangerous for your reputation. So this means this person is probably, King of Cups reversed. They call scandal, they're the rogue, it's passion, okay? But take care of yourself too, okay? You have to be very clear about what you want in love. And if they don't want to give it to you, then move on. That's what I see with Seven of Cups here. So make sure you state exactly what you want from this person. Don't leave any room for error. Like, I want a committed relationship, or I don't want anything with you, just sex. Okay. So you have to be very clear and listen to what the other person has to say. Because I'm afraid you may cloud your thoughts with your realistic thoughts. Okay. You may cloud those with self-delusion. So be careful. Really listen to what they have to say, because most guys will tell you the truth if you ask them. You have to actually listen to what they say. So when a guy tells you something, believe him. That's for the ladies out here, because it actually talks about for a female. But yeah, you are starting this new phase. There's a huge mutual attraction between you guys. And almost it's going to be like an achievement for you with this King of Cups person. Like, you're going to feel like you achieved some kind of a sexual revolution, actually. And it's going to be like tackling a challenge for you, and you're just going to go for it. It's pretty interesting. And I think even though this is dangerous for your reputation, the Ace of Wands isn't reversed. So I don't actually like seeing you like going into ruin or anything like that. But because we have so much emotional and sexual repression here, your advice is the Ace of Wands upright. When it's upright, or when it's in reverse, sorry. When it's in reverse, it says emotional sexual repression. Like, exactly. But it's upright. This is saying don't repress your emotions or your sexuality. Or don't repress your emotions about somebody's sexuality. Or don't repress your sexuality for somebody's emotions. Okay, it's like coming together in agreement. Okay? So, your advice is don't repress anymore. Let it out. If somebody wants to turn their back on you, let it be. Okay, so now in your outcome, we have the Page of Wands. This is like spontaneity, being bold, especially, if it's about sex, it's kind of just random, okay? But it's like that spark, especially starting over. So again, if you, your relationship may have turned from bully to more romantic, or it could have turned from a friendship that was over to something more. Or again, if there were 3 people, a friendship could have ended, that kind of thing. But I'm seeing this is starting over. So again, if you've had a truce with an enemy, like was indicated, this could be starting over again. And it may be unexpected, but also in your outcome, the Page of Wands talks about behaving freely. So no more repression anymore. It's like as if you say, okay, I'm not going to repress my emotions anymore, and I don't. And you actually follow through with it. And even though the love may be sudden, it may not be here very long for some people, because it may be a little immature. But it's one of those love, this is my love unlike any other card. So it's definitely going to start a revolution. It's going to spark something in you. Almost like, Ace of Wands is kind of like bringing somebody to life. It's a vitality card. And you're going to see love in a different way from a new perspective after this. But it does talk about smooth sailing, dating, having fun, kind of having that revolution, broadening your horizons, seeing things out there. Yeah, That's pretty much what I'm seeing here. So it's pretty good, but mostly behaving freely. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles. So this could be for, a female Virgo. This could be you. But with Queen of Pentacles, she's very much into long-term relationships, assessing people for their loyalty. But she's overall a really good person. She's intelligent, she's generous, and she likes security, but she also likes liberty. So here I'm saying behaving freely and liberty. So if it's not you that's described in there, it's just talking about behaving freely. And also with Six of Pentacles, this is a nurturer. So I think you need to nurture the idea of behaving more freely. But also she's just very nice. And also I'm seeing, not being very suspicious, very trustworthy, and you want a stable relationship. And so you're very practical about this, and you want to make sure that's known. You're going to assess this person to make sure that it's not just, one night stand type of deal, because you're not actually looking for that. You do want the sexual, sexual, I can only think of research. I can't think of it. Exploration. But you still want something that's long-term. All right, so next you had the Seven of Cups, which again is fantasy, lust. It's giving into fantasy. It says there's lots of potential, there's lots of charm, lots of attraction. It also says you have many choices when you come to dating, especially with the Page of Wands in here. And it says you're gonna go for it. It's just all about lust here. Not true love yet, okay? But there's potential for it with the Two of Cups here. And I'm also seeing, for some people, if this is about work, you're going to make progress at work. You're going to be very practical, down to earth, that kind of thing. But the next card is the Chariot. And to me, this is about moderation of, love, feelings, whatever it is. So again, behave freely, but still have some moderation. Don't go to one extreme. And then, because if you've been repressing, that's one extreme. And then don't go straight to the other in like a bipolar type fashion. Just, moderation, okay? But it makes me feel like there's a choice. What do you have to moderate? And it's between tons of lust and passion and excitement. And the other side is boredom and looking for the next opportunity. So some of you do get, or this other person can get bored quite easily and try to find more excitement, because they do have a lot of spontaneity here and behaving freely. And somebody may not want to be chained down in that way, but they just see it in the wrong way. They see it as a chain as opposed to just having a commitment. So that your choice is moderate between like lust and opportunities to be bored, or having a wandering eye should you get bored. It also talks about inhibition, so free and inhibitions. You just have to kind of have a balance between those two things. Okay. Now, let's get over here. Well, I do want to talk about Justice a little bit because I didn't talk about her too much. With the Chariot, and this card says it's a speeding ticket. So again, don't go too fast because you're going to get dinged. Have a moderation between these two. Again, with Five of Swords, there is some kind of crime or dishonesty going on. I keep wanting to think this is the Hermit, so I'm having to change my thoughts around. And sometimes the Six of Pentacles with Justice says, yes, things could get resolved in your favor, but sometimes there's still inequality in giving and receiving. And I think you're trying to work on that. So that's good. We may have a transformative lover, but somebody who's also very logical. And so people are having to try to reconcile, weigh the pros and cons of what to do. Again, if somebody has been repressed, they may reveal these inclinations. And that's like a mystery that's revealed with the Justice here. It could be a Libra. But I'm seeing you can actually make things work. Just watch your reactions to other actions. You still have to go with your conscience, okay? But if you can kind of work on things and tweak things, it may actually work. But just don't, go against your own integrity, because the right decision will happen here. It's just going to take a lot of balance. I have a lot of balance in here. So again, moderation, no repression, but no complete abandon. Okay.